Okay, welcome back to another records pick. This is the Movember special edition. It'll be gone by the next vid, so don't worry. But yeah, I've picked up 6 records lately. 6 that obviously I'm really pleased to get. I've got them all for a good price. They're all brand new. As I've said before, it just so happens that every record I've got thus far has been brand new and sealed, but that doesn't mean to say whatsoever that that will always be the case. Far from it. You know, I am and will, I'm looking to and will pick up second-hand records. There's no snobbery going on it. It's just that I just haven't so far. It's just the way it goes. But I'm looking on eBay. There's quite a few I'm looking at, and I will get them. But just thought I'd point that out, just in case you wonder why they're maybe all so new or look in mint condition. It's probably because they are in mint condition. Excuse me. I'm just coming off the back of making another vid where I was coughing all the way through it. So again, apologies in advance. It's that time of year where, you know, colds linger and all that kind of stuff. So the first record that I've got 6 altogether, is Coldplay, and apologies for the reflective lighting there. It's their latest release, Ghost Stories. Now, a typical Coldplay release in a way, you know, they don't really pull up any major surprises here. But I really like the album. It's got mixed reviews so far, and I can understand why. You know, they don't really branch too far from what they used to, Coldplay, but I think it's a good album. And it kind of fits the scene well. It's got the kind of Christmas, fall, you know, December kind of feel about it, end of the year kind of feel, and all the songs seem to fit in. You know, the leading single, I guess, A Sky Full of Stars, is typical Coldplay, and I guess if you like Coldplay, you're probably going to like this. They don't venture too far away from the tried and trusted formula, the recipe, if you like. Excuse me again. So that's that, Coldplay, Ghost Stories, and you're not really going to be able to see that spine. But yeah, decent album, and glad to have got it. Next up is a band called Merchandise, and this one is called After the End. A very kind of dark cover there with green and obviously kind of a black tree, or it looks like a tree or a hedge, or I don't know what it is, some kind of, it's like a bush from a maze, that kind of shape to it. It looks actually easier to spot, to separate there, but when you're looking at it in person, it's a lot darker. But yeah, now this is an interesting one because I'd never heard of Merchandise prior to this, and I'd best describe this album as kind of like a post-punk kind of sound to it. It's got elements, I mean, I guess this comes down to personal opinion. By the way, a lot of these records will look as if they're kind of shriveled. It's just because I've kept the wrapping on a lot of them, and I've cut the insert maybe to get the record out. Maybe I should take the actual plastic wrapping off, but it's not all wrinkled. It's just the wrapping, like I say, which you'll probably see on a lot of these records. But yeah, let me think of a few examples. Not the best ones. This is just off the top of my head. Maybe it's a cross between things like maybe The Fall, maybe The Cure, a bit of New Order in there, a bit of maybe Morrissey, The Smiths, New Order, that kind of thing to it. I like it. Now, reading through some of the comments on some of the tracks on the videos on YouTube, it appears if it's quite decisive, or divisive, excuse me again, quite divisive opinion, because it seems as if they're starting to get away from their roots. Maybe they were a lot darker, a lot grittier, a band, but it seems as if, I don't know, maybe they're slightly changing their style, I guess. But I wouldn't know, because I've not really been into the band, well, at all, before this one. But this album, After the End, it's pretty good. And what I'll do, as ever, for all of these tracks, for all these albums, I'll put a track, a bit of a random one, but one which I like, in the description box. So please click on it. You might discover a new band, you might like it, you might not, but what's the harm in checking it out? The next guy, or next record, is a guy called Dan Croll. Sweet Disarray is the album. He's a guy from Stoke, only a young guy, but based in Liverpool. It comes across as a, you know, a really nice guy, very kind of humble in all his interviews, at least the ones that I've seen. And the song which really made me think, I quite like this artist, is a song called From Nowhere. It's the opening song. It's probably going to be the one which I'll use in the description box below for you to check out if you're not already aware of it. Yeah, kind of like an indie pop. Is he going to be someone who's kind of here now, gone tomorrow? Possibly, but I kind of like him. I think he comes across well. I like the cover as well. I like the colours used on there. Pretty nice. So yeah, impressed so far. It's not amazing, but it's good, and I think it's, you know, looking at 7, 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10 material. So 3 albums left. The first one is Basement Jaxx. This is their new album, which is called Junto. And yeah, you know, the typical Basement Jaxx with the electronica kind of house dance music. If you like Basement Jaxx, you're probably gonna like this. Now, it's funny because I used to work... It's not much of a claim to fame, and it isn't my main one. I've got much more important and more impressive ones than this. But one of my claim to fames, I guess, even though it's very rubbish, really, is that I used to work with one of the backing singers to this band. And this is back in 2000, 2001. So it's quite a long time ago now. And I just remember quizzing her. Her name was Shah. And I'd quiz her all the time on the band and all the kind of stars she's met and what it's like to record in the studio and go on, you know, live gigs and TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember just being absolutely fascinated by it and think it was really cool because at the time I was a bit of a Basement Jaxx fan, not massively into them, but I certainly knew some of their, you know, popular songs. And I just thought it was really cool that I'd potentially been listening to stuff for a few years that she'd been singing on. I just thought it was really weird. But yeah, this is their latest their latest, well, this is the latest result, I guess, of their latest release. And it's good. If you like Basement Jaxx, as I say, you're probably gonna like this. So that's Junto, and that only came out, I think, in August. Two left. The first one, I might have the pronunciation of this wrong. It's, I'm gonna go with Gus Gus. Gus Gus are an Icelandic band, and this is kind of, again, kind of a dance, electronica kind of music. And the opening track is, what's it called? It's called something, have I got it? Maybe I was listening to it a minute ago. Maybe not, actually. I think it's called something like Sexual Obliteration or something. Do you know what? I can't find it, so I'm going to skirt past that. But yeah, a really good opening track. And I remember hearing it on YouTube. I'm still, as I'm talking, trying to look for it on here. I remember seeing it on YouTube and thinking, that looks amazing. I've never heard of the band before. And, oh, I've got it. Here we go. It was what I was listening to a minute ago. Obnoxiously Sexual. It's the opening track on the album. Really good, really kind of instantly gets you. It did with me anyway. And it sets the tone nicely for the rest of the album. So like I say, electronic kind of music. And I've never heard of them before. It's a band which have been around for around about 20 years. So they've been doing the rounds for quite a while. I think this is maybe their 7th or 8th album. And yeah, as soon as I heard that song, I listened to a couple of others. I didn't want to just buy, you know, an album based off one track when the rest of it could be totally rubbish. And I liked what I heard, so I thought, I'm going to buy that. I did, it arrived, the album's called Mexico, only came out this year as well, and really like it. So if you like kind of dance, electronic music, check this out. And again, I'll put a link to that song, Obnoxiously Sexual, in the description box. Check it out, it's really, really good. And it just goes to show that if you kind of open your mind a little bit, not so much to genres, but to bands in other countries, there's just, honestly, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of artists out there. And that's one of the great things about music. You're always discovering new people. And it's just brilliant. So I really, really like this. Now, I don't know, maybe you're watching this and everyone's familiar with these guys, but I've never heard of them, which maybe tells you a lot about me not branching out a little bit, I guess. I don't know. But that's Gus Gus, a band from Iceland. And been around a while. Check them out. Very, very good. And then last but not least, it's a band, again, these have been around, I say a while, I think this is only their 2nd album, but they formed a fair few years ago. And they're called Fitz and Tantrums, and this album is called More Than Just a Dream. Just think of something like indie pop, typical indie pop. I mean, some of the songs, the best songs are the leading tracks off the album. Out of My League, Break the Walls, The Walker, Spark, all good songs. It's a really good album if you like that kind of indie pop song. It's very radio friendly, really, these. The kind of thing which you'd probably see on like maybe a TV advert commercial. But that's not to detract from the quality. I think it's really good. I like the album artwork as well. The whole kind of purple, neon-y kind of colours. I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, and the singer's very kind of eccentric with his hair, like kind of colours through it and all that kind of stuff. Older than what I thought. Not that it matters, but I think he's like 44, 45, and so he only would have formed this band, I guess, in his very late 30s. So there's hope for all of us yet. We could still go on and sell millions of records, who knows. But yes, that's Fitz and the Tantrums. A really good record. I want to go back and get their debut album. This is their 2nd album, which came out, was it earlier this year or late last year? But either way, thoroughly recommended. And that is that. So yeah, we've got 6 albums. I'll just put them all together there. You probably can't see. Nice little amalgamation of colours there. Looks nice on the old shelf. Now, if anyone's ever wondering, what I always do with these records is I put them in these little sleeves. Now, I was wondering what sleeves to buy going back a long, long time, so I just went on YouTube, as you do, for recommended vinyl sleeves, and it appears it seems as if the majority of people recommend these things called Blake sleeves. Now, I don't know, I mean, they seem to be good, I quite like them. I don't know if they're the best, or if it's one of those situations where everyone just says it's good, so everyone says it's good and buys them. Maybe it's that. I don't know, but they seem to do the trick. I bought 100 altogether, and I like them. You know, this little sticker which tears off the top here, it tears off the top, it just opens, and the stick, or the sticker residue seems to last a long, long time. Maybe it's a permanent thing, I don't know, but I've opened these records sometimes 10, 20 times, and I can easily stick it down again, not had any problems whatsoever, so you may want to check those out. They're called Blake's sleeves, so that's that, just in case anyone was wondering. So, yeah, there we are. There's another 6 records. I've got a few more on the way, which I bought, a couple on the Black Friday sale on Amazon and a couple of other websites. I've got a few in my watch list on eBay, some which I really want to get, some old school stuff. And then what I'll do, I think, around about Christmas time, is I'll do a collection vid so far. Not that it really is a collection. There's no aim with this. I'm not aiming for like 1 million records or, you know, a complete set of getting every, you know, vinyl ever released, obviously. I'm just buying them as and when I want them. You know, when I like a band, I'll you know, earmark that record for a potential purchase, and then whenever that is, I'll go and buy that. So it's a collection which is just always expanding, but it's something which is great. I love doing it because music's brilliant. Who doesn't like music? So what I'll do, like I say, around about Christmas, I'll do a collection vid. I'll go through all the videos, all the records, sorry, that I've got, and maybe talk a little bit about them, and yeah, and maybe be influenced, you know, through other things which you may suggest to me, or I may introduce you to a few bands which you've never heard of, whichever way. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, see you later.